There we go. All right. Mañana no más, folks. How are you? Welcome to another morning check-in with Mañana no más. And what a day it has been. I will be, like I always tell you guys the truth. So let's have another episode of the truth. It's late. It's not 9:30 in the morning anymore. And that's because today was busy. I had an appointment this morning with someone in the fixed operations space. They do automotive fixed operations, and I joined the fixed operations roundtables and stuff that were on LinkedIn, and I wanted to stay plugged into that. And here's what I found: I found that 20 years of automotive experience didn't go to waste on me. It's still stuck up here in my head, and I also found that a lot of the professionals in that space are still dealing with a lot of the same issues. And while there's been advancements within the industry, it still came back to me very, very quickly. And that said, I still focus on power sports and marine, and looking to do bicycle and marine as well. But um, talking to people in automotive space is really, really interesting. Now, what was cool about talking to this particular gentleman was, I've got the online academy, the Mañana no Más Academy, and I have a blended example. He's got an example where he's traveling. He's going from dealership to dealership to dealership to dealership, and when you are a trainer and you're spending so much time traveling, especially during a COVID crisis, right? It's like that adds to the stress level. It adds to potential burnout, and it takes away from the value you can add to others. I've talked about a blended or hybrid learning example many times. And so I don't want to blow this out of proportion, but the coolest part about meeting with this gentleman today, and it's one of those happenstance meetings I get off of LinkedIn, is we may be looking at doing some type of blended learning example for his training organization, which does a couple of things. It helps him, right? Takes the pressure off of him, lets him raise his game when he does his on-site visits. If he's giving theory online and then still going out and doing visits, he can take people to a higher level if they've already got some base theory they're working with. And also, if he uses our platform, if he were to use the Mañana no Más platform and run his members through that, it it gives more diversity and adds more depth to the Mañana no Mas platform as well. So that was a really cool win-win situation. Still looking at that possible book project that I was talking to you about yesterday. And then I had a speaker, let's say not a speaker, I had a prospective speaker, that's more accurate, reach out to me. And he said, "Hey, I see everything you do. I see your platform. I see what you're doing. And I wanted to know if you would be willing to talk to me. I'm thinking about becoming a speaker and moving forward as well." Now, some of you might hear that and go, "Oh my goodness, I hope you shut them down. Don't give them your secrets. Don't give them the magic sauce. Whatever you do, don't encourage a young person to jump into, what you want to do." You know what? No, I can't tell you how flattering it is to have somebody approach you and say, "Hey, would you," and very politely, "would you be willing to give me some time and give me some instruction or some direction?" And we spent some good quality time, on a Zoom call today, and we kind of laid out, riches are in the niches, but you want to cast your net wide enough to be able to catch the people in that niche, right? And we talked about, like a Dave Gambrell thing, right? You got to build your list. You have to have a digital property that's going to help you build your list and cast your net wide. But you want to make sure you cast wide, but don't go too deep. You want to stay within your niche until you can expand from there. And so that went really, really, really well. And then the next thing that happened was the empowerment retreat had a live session going on. And I don't want to, let me see if I can pull this up on the other screen. Yes, Stacy Raske, I believe is how you would say her name, Raske. And she describes herself as a badass, of course. And she's into motorcycles, power sports, I believe a military background. And now she is helping to train women in corporate America, right? But train women, and also to help men in industry, influence women to be the most influential they can. Like, how do you take an alpha person and make them less bitchy but more influential, right? And so she focuses on that quite a bit, and her talk so far has been pretty amazing. I signed out of that so that I could get back to you folks and make my obligation to check in daily with the Mañana no Mas morning check-in and make sure that we keep this going. So I think it's a really good habit. I like checking in with you guys, and I like to let you know that we are still moving forward and got things going on. Now, all of this stuff that seems to be going around, and all this attitude, all this environment of creativity is something that I'm really, really, really enjoying. And I hope that we can keep this going. But as I look around at the COVID thing and I'm seeing the opportunities, what I'm really, really hoping for is to find, I need an alpha client, right? So let me just be out. I'll just be bold with this. I've got the power sports training I'm doing, the marine training I'm doing, and that's great. I love doing that. But I know with everybody trying to get their content online and have their own membership and learning sites, for their own corporate identities, I'm really looking for one or two kind of alpha clients that I can plug into that space and give them a quality experience for their staff, to onboard staff, or to take things to another level, right? And so I'm going to throw that out there for you folks. Put that out in the ether and see if you can't make that happen. All right. August 1st, I just put out a video. Hold on. The pleasures of being live. I just put out a little promo video celebrating that Mañana no Mas Academy is going to phase 3. Phase 1, we let people in for free. Phase 1, we took a handful of dealers. We gave them free access to the online platform, and I gave them the biweekly support calls. And the idea was, you're in the system, but I'm using you as a case study to sell to other dealers moving forward, right? So that was phase 1. Phase 2, we went to introductory pricing. Phase 2 started, I'm going to say late January, early February. We did phase 2, right? That was more like a proof of concept. So we had the beta testing, phase 1, that was no charge. Phase 2 was kind of like proof of concept. What does a paid model look like for dealerships to get their service staff in for quality training? And then what kind of value can we add as we build that curriculum and move things forward for the dealership? Well, here's what I found. I found that people that participated in our 2-day workshop, and I say ours as if it was mine, I built it, but it was under Ducati, and then we built another similar product for Suzuki. But dealers that were able to get through those 2-day workshops all experienced growth. And the average growth was 47% parts and labor when I was with Ducati, right? So I'm taking a look at that and I'm saying, how can I improve on that relationship? How can I increase by more than that? And by doing this blended learning example of having the online platform and the biweekly support calls that feature peer learning, that takes it to the next level. So phase 2 was the proof of concept of that. And that was $1,495 per person per year, right? So if a dealership signed up one person, $1,500, they're in for the year. If they have 2 people, it would be $3,000, and those 2 people are in for the year, right? As a proof of concept, we've had multiple dealerships where we have been able to take a look at their processes and through coaching say, if you change this about this process, that's going to create this much time, or this will increase your shop efficiency by this much, and you should be able to sell an additional $242,000 in parts and labor sales. Or if you change this nuance of your business, if you do this instead of having your mechanics do this, that will open them up for labor. And based on the 50-50 parts and labor split, that would open up your business to another $315,000 in parts and labor sales for the year. Now, when you can take a look at a dealership's processes and through training, teach them how to optimize, those results, think about that. So someone paid me $1,500 for training and so far has received over $600,000 in increasing their parts and labor business money, right? So that takes us to phase 3. So here's phase 3. The proof of concept worked. Able to participate. They've been able to sign into the biweekly support calls. They've been able to consume the curriculum offline. And we are continuing to add curriculum to the online model. Now, my goal is by phase 4 to have a certification process in for individuals. Okay. So that's what I'm growing towards. I'm saying, what would it take, soup to nuts, to be a really good service writer or service manager at a power sports dealership? And I'm saying, okay, if I can grow all that, that'll be a certification process, right? So right now, I don't have all that yet. I've got a really good base online content, and we know that we've been able to financially assist dealerships in adding their parts and labor sales and customer satisfaction indexes. So we take that proof of concept, phase 2, and we say, now we're going to phase 3. Phase 3 is additional curriculum. You still get the biweekly support calls, but our pricing now moves to a more standardized, like, coaching fee. That's $3,495 per person per year, right? So this is important. If you've been on the fence about signing up for the Mañana no Mas power sports or marine fixed operations training, if you've been on the fence about trying it out, right? You could try it out now as an early adopter, phase 2, $1,495. Once we get into August, that price goes up $3,495. That's a big chunk, right? But in the grand scheme of things, it's not a big chunk. When your people come to training and they get training that says, implement this by this percentage, implement this, and I project that based on your current numbers, you will go from here to here. When we can do that and say, okay, this is your opportunity to make more money, if they implement, if they do what we tell them to do, they will see an increase in parts and labor sales. You more than justify the expense of training. Here's the deal. I was talking to a good friend who was a former employer just this morning, and one of his famous lines is, train hard, fight easy. Train hard, fight easy. He says it all the time, right? And now more than ever, sales have increased, right? So if your power sports dealership has felt the bubble, right? If you've been active and you've participated in the market in the last fiscal quarter, you know that your sales are up. That's going to create a drive to your service department. If you don't formally train your service department to deal with increased flow, or to have a way to better get that flow through the shop more efficiently, you're going to lose those new customers. That's the last thing you want to do. Customer retention is like the focal point of so many people in this industry right now. So you want to focus on customer retention. Now, beyond customer retention, what else do we have to think about? Well, the manufacturers at the height of your best sales season have laid people off and shut down production. The supply chain is broken. So when you start running out of those desirable units, people are going to start freaking out, and they're going to buy used bikes. They're going to be pulling bikes out of their garages and sheds and backyards and friends' basements and God knows what. And they're going to be bringing those to you and saying, hey, since you don't have X, Y, and Z available, I'm going to get this worked on instead. Your service department needs to be trained in how to deal with that effectively, efficiently, and optimize each of those sales opportunities to grow that service volume for you. The last fiscal quarter has been great for sales. The next fiscal quarter and the next 2 or 3 after that could be phenomenal for service if you would invest in your people. And don't make them fight hard. Train them, right? Train hard, fight easy. Train hard, fight easy. Make the successes in the service department, make the increased profit in your business easier to attain by training your people better. That's it. Wow. That was a pretty strong message. Anyway, you got until August 1st. August 1st, phase 3 starts. Prices go up. I'm adding curriculum to the system as we speak, and it's turning into quite a training operation. Remember, when I held a 2-day workshop for Ducati North America, the people that participated increased on average 47% for parts and labor. Some did much, much better, and some didn't do as well, but the average was 47%. Think of this. From a 2-day workshop, you are now going to have people plugged in for a year to the same theories, the same teaching, an expanded theory, expanded teaching, and access to me bi-weekly. 26 times throughout the year, we're going to have an opportunity to talk face-to-face with your people. And they'll be able to bring me questions, concerns, issues, obstacles they're having, and we'll be able to brainstorm this and get to the next level. And as a dealer owner, as a dealer principal, that's something, quite honestly, that you're not going to get from the OEMs right now, and I'm offering it. So you've got the space, jump in, make her happen. I'll talk to you guys later. Have a good one. Bye-bye.